Performers Pod is presented by Blue Movie PR. Your brand is more than just content, it's an experience. At Blue Movie PR, adult entertainment talent is supported with public relations that respect both the art and the person behind it. Led by Jim Steele, Blue Movie PR builds compelling narratives that connect performers with new audiences and helps solidify long-term legacy. With a boutique talent first oriented approach and tiered pricing designed to meet creators at every stage of their career, Blue Movie PR is focused on entirely building your success. Let's tell your story together. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Performers Pod. I'm Chelsea Poe. Today, my guest is Ria Bentley. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you, Chelsea. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm so glad we linked up. You're fresh off a T win last year, right?
Yeah, well, God, it's almost a year ago now, coming up, right? But yeah,
I saw your award, but then it disappeared. What did you win last year?
I won the Trans Content Creator of the Year. It was
That's
kind of like a
huge.
yeah, I mean, it really meant a lot to me and still does, obviously, because I didn't expect it, and it was one of those categories that I wasn't a nominee for. Like I had a couple nominations and I was, sitting at the table. And when they went through those, well, clearly I didn't win. So not to say I wasn't paying attention anymore, but I, I just kind of remembered I was talking to a friend of mine at the table and I wasn't looking at the stage and I thought I heard my name, but my friend Aria's like, Ria, you just won. I'm like, well, what did I win? And because it was kind of just like a one-off one, it was clips for sale. I guess they sponsored like their own an award.
Mm.
It was like Trans Creator of the Year. And yeah, so it was just like completely caught me off guard. And yeah, I barely remember going up on the stage and accepting it because I was so nervous and just I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, I can't believe it.
Congratulations. It's such a big one. I also, when I won for best movie a long time ago, like 10 years ago. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm just gonna skip the award show. And then I was in New York. So with the time change, I started getting a bunch of texts at 1 in the morning from everyone else in the movie. And I was like, oh my God, did something happen to someone or something? And then I found out, I was like, oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
still have to go to sleep because I have a 6 a.m. flight for another shoot, but I got to
Oh,
celebrate for like
yeah.
15 minutes in bed, I guess.
Well, shoot. So congratulations. So you are a T winner, and that sucks that you weren't there for it though to accept it. But did they mail
I
it to you?
No, it was for the movie, and I think Nika Noel ultimately got it. I actually don't know where the trophy actually went. I never saw that. I like saw pictures of the trophy. I've never held it.
Oh my God.
I
I
have
was
that with a
worried.
few trophies. Yeah, I won. There used to be an award called the Feminist Porn Awards in Toronto, and that was before I had a passport. So I won three of those, but I didn't have a passport, so I wasn't there. I finally got my one trophy in person a few years back, so I'm all good. But so are you nominated again going into this next T Awards?
Yeah, I have Miss Unique and um oh God. It's I thought it last year they keep changing the names a little. It like last year it was kind of like best self-producer. I think it's content creator again.
So you're like defending your crown.
Well, but now yes and no. I mean, it's hard for me to remember, but last year was also Miss Unique and best self-producer, but I didn't win those. I won it's right here. Honestly, I keep forgetting what it's
Honestly, the
called.
Miss Unique thing, like I've gotten nominated for that in the past, and I was like, you can just say alt. You can just say alt. It's okay.
Yeah, clips for sale, trans creator of the year, Ria Bentley. So, but this year, yeah, it's Miss Unique, and I think it's, I guess it's called best, I don't know, content creator again. I'm so lame. I should know what I'm
I
nominated for.
mean, it's a good problem to have when you're nominated for enough that you're like, I don't even know.
No.
It's fine. That's
Oh God.
like
No, not like
sounding
that.
very, very Hollywood. Very
I'm
Hollywood, good way.
I am actually more intrigued about you than me, actually. I want to know, tell me all about your wins then. So, okay, you said there was a convention thing for a while and you had like,
Yeah. I like how this is an audio medium, but we're both like, I'll show you the awards.
okay,
Okay. Okay. Also, you cannot turn this into a podcast of you interviewing me, but you can a little bit. You can so yeah, it was actually in a shape of a like
I
sex
love
toy.
that. Yeah, that
So
is so
I
cool.
had I can show you the movie it was with. So do you know who Drew DeVoe is?
Uh,
So she was her right here. She
okay.
was like kind of like pretty like visibly lesbian and she was a post-op trans woman. But when she was being cast in lesbian porn, people didn't know she was trans. Like her scene
Uh,
partners did, but the director did not. So she had a scene that got nominated for best lesbian scene in like 2015, 2014 or something. And everyone had no idea she was trans until the movie came out and it did super well.
that is
So it
crazy.
was her, myself, and Bailey J, which it's fucking Bailey J. Like she's an
I,
icon.
yeah.
So I won that, and then in 2021, I won Cam Performer of the Year at the Why Not Cam Awards that are just defunct now because of kind of why everything got canceled in 2021. Like I think there was some sort of allegations about people at the award show like using their position of power to like get nudes and stuff from performers.
Did you say get nudes?
Yeah. Yeah, there was like all this like questionable DMs that was happening from one of the leaders of the organization. So I think just about every model boycotted it and it just kind of stopped existing.
Oh,
So
wow. What does it stand for? Or did it
I
stand for?
don't know actually. I should know because they gave me a trophy, right?
That's so funny.
Yeah, I feel like they should have
Well,
maybe told me that. But they also, so when I won, they gave me I did win and they like showed me the envelope, so I like knew it was real. But they gave me the wrong person's trophy. So I had a different plaque. So I told them that and then they immediately like took a knife out and tore the plaque off of the thing. And they're like, "Oh, we'll mail you another plaque." So like a month later they finally mailed me the plaque with
okay.
my
So
actual name on it. But
that's funny.
yeah,
Yeah, so
all
that was yeah, obviously before my time, but I was watching a little bit of porn back then. I certainly remember you. I know, Bailey J and you talked
yeah.
about Domino. A lot of these people um I guess it seems like that's when it was really taken off about what, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, that was I think it's really interesting because like even things like AVN didn't have trans women until way later than you think. It was like 2003, I think, is when trans women first were even allowed at those award shows. And then when I entered in like 2012, like 2013 era. So like before me, it was like all these trans women just fighting to even be on stage at things like AVN. Like that was the big thing before I entered that I was unaware of because I didn't really watch trans porn when I got into porn. Were you like mostly consuming trans porn? Like, first off, when did you get into porn? I just want a
Um,
definitive like when did you get into the
yeah,
industry?
actually, so like I have a birthday next week and
Happy birthday.
I started my OnlyFans 3 years ago. It was on my birthday,
Wow.
I remember. Um, but I was watching not like just like watching hours on end, but I certainly watched. a decent amount of trans porn and straight porn. I've never really watched too much like gay porn.
Same. I like appreciate it for what it is. Like I'm like, oh wow, these are like the strongest, biggest people in the industry. That's cool, like athletically, but
Yeah, but
sexually,
for some reason it just, doesn't really do I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. Like
mm-hmm.
I actually like to top guys occasionally,
Mm,
but my preference is definitely women. Whether it's trans or cis, I like
for
both.
real.
But yeah, I really do. I love pussy. I like
Yeah, I
it.
mean, we're a very pro lesbian podcast.
Yeah,
100%. You do not need to tell me I'm being like, actually women are better. I'm like, yeah.
exactly.
Um, so you were like you entered the industry post-pandemic.
Yeah. I
Okay.
probably like so many people. I didn't plan it. I would had been like cross-dressing and having these fun sexual escapades. I don't know, I just met a lot of people back in the day on like Craigslist, and a lot of them were like guys with their girlfriends, and
Mm-hmm.
we would just have lots of just fun threesomes, and I was just trying to figure out a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, God, there's like a lot to talk about, but basically, for this answer, one of them told me about Fat Life, and I had
Oh
never
yeah.
heard of it. And so I got on that, and I started posting pictures of myself and like very, very short clips of like,
Mm-hmm.
them fucking me or me fucking them, that sort of thing, on Fat Life. And, the next thing you know, you start getting a lot of likes and comments, and
Yeah.
that kind of just, I'm sure it's the same for so many people, that sort of uh, with the seed, I guess. It's like, oh, I kind of like this. I kind of like the attention and this
Mm-hmm.
and that. And then people were asking, well, hey, what's your OnlyFans? I'm like, I don't have an OnlyFans. And so that's kind of how it started. I just decided I'm gonna try to learn some basic video editing and try to I started with mainly like solo stuff and then a
Mm-hmm.
few hookups with some guys, the ones that I could actually get to fill out the model releases and get verified,
Yeah, not always easy.
the production. But yeah, and then after seeing a little bit of income on that, it kind of sorry, it kind of like
Oh, you're totally
motivated
fine.
me to really like devote some time and effort to putting out longer, better stuff and nice edits. And that's really how it started. And then from there, I eventually just said, well, I set up Twitter, the
Mm-hmm.
usual social media, and I don't know. Next thing you know, I'm like flying to Florida and Las Vegas to do collabs, with more
Yeah.
established people who knew what they were doing, and that's how it's kind of snowballed.
I mean, that's so cool. That's like so organic. Like, I can definitely relate to that. Like, I always say before you're doing porn, it's like being recreationally slutty, where it's like you're like doing it for fun, like you're trying to explore yourself. And then it sounds like for you, it was very similar. Like, I started with camming and then started making videos from cam sessions and just really build up from there. And I think that's really the most sustainable path because then you're not in this situation where you're like, if this company gets upset at me, I don't have a career anymore, you know? Like that you did it really on your own. I think that's so
Yeah,
admirable.
yeah, no, I definitely did it all on my own. And I was kind of talking to you before we started this,
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't done any big studios other than a couple solo things for Grooby, and then like some paid trades with smaller places.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, everything's just it's not that I don't want to, but they just obviously I guess I don't appeal to them, so they haven't asked me. But yeah, it's just I work hard and put out a lot of content, and it's funny because some of these people are like, well, Ria, we have to take into consideration. I mean, you work with so many people, and how if you work for us, I don't know if it's gonna sell because everyone's already seen you with so and so. But it's like I have to fucking pay my bills, and
For
I live
real.
by myself in Vegas. It's not cheap, and yeah, so I have to get paid.
Yeah, I think it's just like so you don't have to do that. And I think that's like really the beauty. I was talking to someone about that very recently who is actually from San Francisco, who is in the queer porn scene in like the 2000s here where they were like, "Well, you need studio gigs." And I'm like, it's not the case anymore. Like you have so many people move to Vegas who make an entire living out of content trade, you know? Like that you can make a career out of just shooting yourself or just collaborating with people. I think
Yeah.
really is so different than when I started, when it was still so about kind of kissing up to these studios and, hoping all these studios like you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd be lying though if I wasn't a little envious of people like you and the ones that do get that work because I like there's pluses and minuses, I guess. I mean, you are going to get some really good exposure, and your name will you'll start probably you probably get more recognition a little more quickly, just with I think the people that subscribe to these big studios and see all these you know people. I don't know, like it's just been a slow. I feel like it's been kind of a slow process for me, but it's always been a slight upward trajectory, which is what you want. But we all kind of want it to go up a little quicker.
But I don't know how much of a slow trajectory it is. You're winning content creator of the year 3 years in. Like in my mind when you're saying that, I'm like, this girl's on a rocket ship right now. Like you have potential to win back-to-back awards. And when is the T Awards? Like 2 months or something, or is it next month?
Oh, it's in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Like,
Yeah.
see, like this could be out and you're gonna be winning your second award. Like you have potential to do that. So I don't want to hear you be like, girl, I have no you know.
Whoa.
Also, like, I feel like everyone has this mentality that everyone else is getting so many studio gigs and stuff. I haven't been on a studio set in so long. And it's like, if I get cool opportunities, that's great. But like, also living in SF, like, do I want to get on a plane and fly to LA to have sex with some man for $1,000? Not really. Like, if it was like the perfect scene, I'm down, but like, at this point in my career, I'm like just shooting mostly lesbian BDSM where I'm like, let me run out a dungeon, let me find some doms who I like working with and, get tortured for a few hours. Like, so I think there's a lot of kind of the grass is green on the other side because I've had conversations with some people who do have more studio gigs and I'm like, "Oh, I wish I had these opportunities you have." And then they tell me their side where they're like, "Oh, well, it's very like internal, like these are where my fans are." Where they can't, do some of the things that I'm able to do. Like I do a lot of screenings overseas, I do film festivals and all this stuff with my work. So it's just like I think everyone has their like own different fan base and what they do. But I think it's very easy to get into the grass is greener on the other side thing very easily.
So did you go? Did you travel a lot to like Europe and places
Yeah.
like studio stuff, or just like kind
No.
of over
So
and
I've shot some studio stuff in Europe, not a lot. Like, it's more like on like the arty sort of film festival-y vibe. Like, do you know Four Chambered Heart?
I don't believe so.
Okay. If there's anything I love doing on this podcast, it's introducing people from one porn scene to other kinds of porn. So, do you know like the band Nine Inch Nails, right?
Mhm.
Imagine if they started doing porn and like what that would look like. That's what Four Chambers does. They're based in the UK. Vex Ashley is one of the creators, I think, with their partner, and they just make the weirdest art porn possible. Like, I was like covered in liquid latex. I made a really bad career decision doing that. So they were paying me above my mainstream rate to shoot like art, essentially. But it was still like fucking because I'm like, I'm gonna get fucked in this. Like, if you're paying me my mainstream rate, I'm gonna bring it. And because I do like a lot of BDSM, there was a boot on the set and it had mud and stuff on it. And I was like, They were like, okay, we'll clean it and then we can do a bootlicking scene. I was like, no, we need one shot. We need one shot. So I did a bootlicking scene. I got really sick afterwards. But
Really?
like for me, I was like, this is for the art, you know? Like I was 25 or something. But they make all this like really crazy stuff. They have this thing that's like almost like a coffin that's all mirrors, and they have people fuck inside of it, and they have all these cameras inside of it. So it's like this
Really?
kaleidoscopic. It's the
Wow.
coolest fucking thing. But there's this whole film festival scene in Europe. It started in Berlin. Um, where they'll have, I think it's from Tuesday until Sunday. It's at four different theaters around Berlin from noon until midnight. It's all porn screenings the entire time, and every single one is sold out. And it's just people come there to watch porn and just like view it as like an artistic medium. And this is all over Europe now. So like every city has one. Amsterdam has one, Brussels has one, London, Paris, like everywhere, Rome. So when I was super burnt out, especially on like mainstream trans porn, because if you know my work, I was being like, hey, let's not call us slurs and shit, you know? Like that
Yeah.
was my whole thing. So I got super burnt out on that. And then I went to Europe and there's like people who are like defacing like fascist graves and making porn about it, where I'm like, okay, I'm normal here. I'm totally chill here. So that's what really like kind of gave me a second wind, honestly.
And what did you say the name of the festival or what is
The
it called?
Berlin Porn Film Festival. There's also the Amsterdam Porn Film Festival. There's the Brussels Film Festival. I
So
think
they're just
Barcelona has one. They're
one.
everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And are they spread out throughout the year or is it kind of like one
They're
after the
mostly
next?
they're mostly spread out throughout the year. So
Yeah.
like I wish they were a little bit closer because it's hard to do a trip and try to do multiple at the same
Yeah.
time. So like last few years I've done Amsterdam, which has been really amazing. But Berlin's the really, really big one. And actually there's a really big one in Poland too, in Warsaw.
Really?
Yeah. So if you ever have anything like arty or like more film festival-y,
Yeah.
you should definitely just submit. It's just such a whole different world of porn, and I think particularly like American porn can sometimes get so almost competitive because it's so much based on awards, where when you're actually like seeing all of your peers' work in these festivals or seeing like other people's work, I think it's like way more inspiring because you can actually like be inspired by other people's work and be like, oh, that's really cool what they're doing. Where I feel like, if you go to AVN or XBiz, you might be nominated against someone and have literally zero idea what their work looks like.
Yeah. Very interesting.
But
Huh.
when you were first like looking into porn, like what performers inspired you?
Um, I always liked Chloe K. Like she
Oh
was the
yeah.
first crush I had. Um, and then she was always, with Casey. I like Chloe and Casey to this day
Yeah.
still. I just think they're both super hot. I don't know how much um Chloe is doing at the moment, but I still like see her around. And like so many it's hard once you kind of put on the spot with people, but like so many other people, like I feel like everyone always names like Natalie Mars, but certainly she's another one.
Mm,
Um, um, yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
that's
Those are
great
the ones
though.
that first come to mind, but yeah, and I love like I've heard you talk a lot. You're I guess a big Sasha Grey fan.
Literally, like
Yeah.
I have like within reaching distance, I have the Playboy one. I have like the
I love
iconic
that.
Vice one where she's like dressed super wholesome, which I kind of base my whole
I
aesthetic
love
off
it.
of for my entire life. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I used to like watching a lot of her stuff. Because excuse me, because I definitely watched a lot of straight porn, back in the
Hmm.
day. but yeah, I used to like I remember watching some video of hers and I just thought it was so hot. It was something like um her husband or boyfriend, is like falling behind on like the payments for the mortgage or
Hmm.
something. He lines up all these people are outside and she's like giving him
Yeah,
a blow job, to get the money. And I just like that is so hot.
it's so hot.
She's
And
just so
like,
beautiful and has like this cool naive sort of look to her. She's like petite. I've always kind of had this thing for like more petite girls as
mhm.
well. But yeah, and then like fuck, she broke into mainstream movies for a bit, I feel like too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, she was in The Girlfriend Experience, the Soderbergh movie. Yeah, I feel like she just like showed that you could do so much with your porn career afterwards too. And like also just like how she was in gangbangs, that she was just like screaming at men and being like, "You stupid fucking trick," and like all that stuff. I was like, "You're so fucking cool. You're doing
yeah.
like what everyone wants to do in porn." Also, like I got to work with a lot of people who worked with her. So like I got to work with Princess Donna and I got to work with like Sin Sage, and just like I feel like our view of her not being in the industry at the time was just like, wow, she's like this iconic thing. And everyone else's reaction was like, oh yeah, she was like so young. And you forget that because
Yeah.
like she was like 19, 20 years old when she was shooting all this crazy
That's
stuff. And it's
crazy.
just like that mentality and that like fully grown professionalism that she had with her scenes that were that hardcore. It's just like truly unreal to look at. And also that she quit when she won Performer of the Year.
Oh, did she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
she won, and then the next month was like, yeah, I'm on top of the industry. This is my time to go out. I want to go out on top.
That's
And it's
kind of
like, that's
cool.
so cool.
That's pretty cool. So you never got to meet her though?
We've had interactions on Twitter and stuff. So that's good. My other one who I was like really in love with was Stoya. Stoy and I have actually like became like friends and stuff, which is still bizarre to me. Like that she'll like answer my emails or text whenever I text her is still.
Yeah.
I
I heard you.
can't.
Uh, um, you mentioned Donna, Princess Donna.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the same person? Like she used to, I think I know her fairly well. She, she used to do some like stuff for some gangbangy stuff for King. Like
Yeah, yeah. So
she has like
she was
curly
actually
hair. She's yeah, I
she's the
know.
reason I accepted the job at Kink.
Oh,
But then she left before I got there. So she left I think in August and I moved here in December. So when I got there, I was like, "Oh, Donna still works here," and they're like, "No." So it was always my dream to work with her, and then she actually got back into porn, I think 2, 3 years ago. So we
yeah.
revived the Public Disgrace series, and we made the first trans inclusive Public Disgrace,
Oh,
and
I want to do
that's
one of those.
it's
Does
the
it?
amount of logistical work is so crazy. It took like I think 10 months of planning.
That's
It
insane.
was it was crazy. It was like the most crazy fun thing to shoot ever. It was like being in like a 5 round like championship fight. I was like covered in bruises afterwards. Probably the most tired I've ever been. Like
Right. Well, I was told, yeah, if you ever want to know how to put together like a large group scene or orgy, you gotta talk to her. I guess she like knows everyone and just has lots of experience putting stuff like that together. But because yeah, no, she was kind of good friends with or seeing a friend of mine here, but I seem to remember, yeah, I feel like she was from San Francisco or for a while
yeah,
in what, like DC area or something. And
well, it's crazy. Her and Sasha Grey are from the same hometown.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're both from Sacramento. So
Mm,
like I don't know if they went to the same high school. In my head, they did. I don't know why. But they worked together on Public Disgrace like very early on. And when I talked to Princess Di about it, she's like, "Oh yeah, Sasha Grey was super young." And I was
yeah.
like never think of I'm younger than that both of them, so I'm like, "Oh no, they're all like mature adults when they shot all that stuff." And then you look back and you're like, "Oh my God, they were like 20 years old shooting like
Wow.
this crazy ass shit." But Yeah, Princess Donna was really big for me. Like the first time I saw Public Disgrace, I was like, this is it. This is my sexuality. I get it now.
I saw her at the Tees last year, but
Yeah.
she's been over here to my house with
Mm.
some of her friends, and I just remember us walking to go eat dinner around here in Vegas, and but I really don't. I've never worked with her. I've always wanted to, and we're trying to make something happen, and we just kind of lost track of each other because she was like moving around a bit. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think she's back in SF. Yeah, I genuinely think she's like the best BDSM director of all time. Like, I think porn's honestly a better place with her in it. So I would love to see whatever you guys make. I cannot, I feel like her, Sasha Grey, and Stoya, I can never stop hyping up. Like, my porn girls who I look up to, I'm like, they're everything to me.
I love that. Yeah. So you've had throughout the years, lots of nominations with AVN and stuff too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
there's been a lot.
did you go to many of the award shows or did you just bypass them?
Yeah, AVN's the one I really care about.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to 11.
Oh my God.
So it's crazy because the first year I went was Joanna Angel was the host. And that was the
Oh,
year.
who was
Oh, she was do you remember Burning Angel from back in the day?
I don't think
It was
so.
the first tattooed porn site.
Oh.
So it was like the first AVN I went to was like when porn was normalizing tattoos. That's how fucking old I am. Where like tattoos weren't really allowed at that point in porn. So like yeah, I feel very old. Like even though I'm only 32, I in porn years I feel a million years old.
Oh, I don't know. I like to dodge the question about my age. It's like obviously a lot of people know my real age because they work with me, but I just don't talk about it. But I'll just say you're a spring chicken, my dear.
It's so
Would
funny because
you
when you're in porn,
for that long? Yeah.
yeah, I'm so like the first show I went to, it was still called the Tranny Awards. Yeah, not great.
Well,
Um,
weren't you instrumental in some of these people changing the names and stuff?
see now you're making this about myself. I appreciate this conversation,
Well, people
but
need to know this.
I'll let you go with it. Yeah, that was like my big thing because like, if you have Sasha Grey and like Stoya as the people you look up to in porn, like their whole thing was like being vocal about shit offset. So when I came into porn, I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. I want it to like, I don't want to see fucking slurs when I'm trying to do a gangbang, you know? Like, also like mainstream trans porn, stuff like Grooby and stuff, it didn't appeal to me because like they were like, oh, will you do a solo scene? And I'm like, I didn't get into porn to shoot solo. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
my goals in porn, especially taking a job at kink.com, it was so based on I'm like, I want to do the extreme stuff. I want to, push the medium and push what trans women can do. Where, if you go to a groovy set back then, it was still like, okay, you touch yourself for 3 minutes and then you play with your ass for 5 minutes and then you suck a dildo for this long and then you do this and then we fake a cum shot at the end.
Interesting.
And for me,
Sounds kind of boring, right?
yeah, where I was like, where do the five people come in and like tie me down and like torture me and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, I just think my goals were very different. Where
Yeah.
like I didn't really, I think I was just put in like the larger TS porn category, like TS like trademark category because I was a trans woman. And I understand why like companies like Grooby or other companies like that really thought I just kind of fit that role, where my goals really weren't in that, where it was way more in like BDSM and, fetish stuff. That at the time just really wasn't kind of prepared to have a trans woman in that role until maybe like 3, 4 years later. So, as much as it was like activism to change for everyone, that I was like, there shouldn't be cis people profiting off of transphobic slurs. If you want to reclaim them as a trans person, all the power to you. That's your right. But it was also self-serving in a way because I'm like, I don't want my stuff to, have a scene of me and it being named like Gmail number 17 or whatever.
Oh yeah. Were they the one that, yeah, I just always remember everything was Gmail stroker, Gmail this and that.
Mm, yeah, that.
But it's funny because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, on some of the porn sites when I'm putting videos up there for the tags, I do use those slurs because there are so many people throughout the world that they just don't get it,
Yeah.
that's how they're gonna find, certain videos, with me in it. So, and you would know better than me, but like, do you think there's some certain places in the world where they literally shemale is the word of choice over like trans woman, transgender?
I don't think within the trans community,
Mm,
maybe like straight dudes, possibly, but like I've never been to a place that has that. But like there's also some things with sex work that are different. Like I work a lot in the Netherlands, and until I think the last year, the official term for sex worker was prostitute, and it's accepted there, which is really strange because in the United States, if you called someone a prostitute, that's like viewed as very offensive, right?
yeah,
Where if you go there, like their big sex worker information hub there that does outreach for the community and like does tours of the red light district, it's called the Prostitution Information Center, which here it would be
it's still
viewed
current.
as,
You
yeah, it would
said
be
this.
viewed,
It's wow.
and that's normal there. It's just like, oh no, that's the terminology here. They just changed it within the government, I think, in the last year. So it's just like I think it depends on where you are. We're obviously in like Thailand, like Thai trans women really identify with the term lady boy, and that's totally
Yeah.
up to them. Like I think it's just like whatever people identify as, go for it. But like when it was, not trans people profiting off of those slurs, that's when I had like an issue with it. Also, it was just so unavoidable in porn back then. But I think if you're marking yourself that way, more power to you, like whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly don't put them in the titles or descriptions, but just whenever, put 30 tags, and
Yeah.
that's when I'll use them. But and it's funny, like Ladyboy, like that's hard for me to say, but you're right, that's still what they're referred to in Thailand. The trans people, girls, and I worked with a couple of girls from over here. We did a threesome,
Hmm.
and they still like refer to themselves as ladyboys,
Yeah.
So like we were doing some Instagram reels, and they said something like, "How we're we're from Thailand, we're ladyboys, and this is Ria,
Yeah.
and that." And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
so
right. I'm like, more power to you. Also, like, there's some trans women who like really identify with the term sissy or like
mhm.
femboy or stuff. And I'm like, it's not me, but like, if that's what you want to do, more power to you. Like, I always joke about this. I was in this trans group. It was like an emerging leadership program in the city of San Francisco, and I was the only white trans woman in it. Everyone else was trans women of color, and there was a thing on being like divine femininity. That's like owning your divine femininity. And I joked in it. I was like, I transitioned to become the worst kind of woman, a basic white woman who listens to Taylor Swift. I'm like, I don't know how much divine is in there. I'm like, it's fine, but like I just don't yeah, I just am like, yeah, I'm basic. It's fine. Like, I do an interesting job. I get gangbanged a lot. That's cool at all, but
You do
I
all the
don't
cool.
think there's some like deep divine thing.
Um, so have you been in a lot of or is most of your stuff group like large orgy sort of stuff?
Um,
Not necessarily.
I've done like I think 5 or 6 gangbangs.
Like how many
So
people?
like,
What was the biggest?
the biggest one was well, the public disgrace. There's 50 people there. I actually don't
50,
know.
50 or 15?
50. So we had to like make it. So we had to first find a space that had like the permits to do sexual performance in, which I didn't know was a thing in the city of San Francisco. So we found a place that had that. So we were able to shoot even outside the venue completely fine. So what we had to do is essentially turn it into a nightclub. So we tried to make it like a queer nightclub scene. So we were able to get, I think in the actual scene, I think I got fucked by maybe like 10 people, something like that. But then there were all these extras and like they did different things. There's a point where like anyone could finger me with a glove at some point. So I don't know how many people actually fucked me in the scene. I
Yeah.
didn't really, I mean, I guess I could go back and count, but it's
It sounds
fine.
so hot.
Yeah, it was like literally my biggest fantasy. My biggest concern in the scene was I'm like, I can't watch a public disgrace scene for more than like 5 minutes without coming. Where I'm like, what if I'm in this scene and I come in the first 3 minutes of it? That was my biggest concern. But yeah, so we had like 50, 60 people there total, including all the extras and everything. But then I did my first gangbang. I think we had 19 people there. And then I was in a BDSM collective and we had 5 or 6 people. So
I'm really, wow, I'm jealous of you. I mean, who
you
doesn't
can
want to
do it.
thing? But I also have to ask, like, w was any part of it during or after, like hard to heal? Like, were you like injured in any, like your asshole or the
No.
knee? No?
You just have to you like I mean, I'm sure you know, like you bottom in porn, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. I assumed. I wasn't reading you as a stone top at all, but you just have to like do anal training for like a month or two before. So
Yeah.
I just do you know the Enjoy plugs?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Whatever.
there are these stainless steel ones. They're like really meant for long time wear.
Okay.
So there's like four of them. There's like a small, medium, large, extra large, and I just started doing that every single day. And then
Okay.
in the weeks leading up to the scene, I was just like having it in maybe 8 hours a day. So you
And we're
just,
okay.
yeah, you
And
just
I was
live
gonna
your
ask,
life with it in.
were people like, I've always wondered, like, is it up to you, the bottom, to make sure everyone keeps re-lubing, or like how does that work when there's that many people?
Um, yeah, I think like whenever I do any sort of anal scene, I'm always like, if I bring a bottle of lube, I'm like, use as much as you need. Like,
Yeah,
go overboard with it because I'm like, especially if you're shooting like hardcore BDSM or anything or a gangbang, like when it's messy, it looks better on camera because it's all like shiny and stuff. So
yeah.
I'm always just like, feel free to use as much as you need to. The issue in the scene actually was, so most people are like pretty experienced, but we had this trans guy in the scene who it was one of his first scenes. And I had to like direct him right before we like started rolling where I'm like, no, I need you to like literally fuck my face until I vomit. Like just keep going. And I had to like hype him up and be like, no, you got this. I promise you. Um, but yeah, I also feel like working with Princess Donna, like they've done these scenes a million times. So it was
Mhm.
very much that they were in control of it. And also like I had very like I was having issues with my nipple piercing at the time, so I was like, "Hey, I can't have anything on my nipple." So someone accidentally put a clothespin on it, and she immediately stopped the scene and like kind of yelled at the person.
Okay.
And just like really having your what you want respected during that's really important because it is chaos. But I think it's just really making clear your boundaries and stuff. Um, but it's just like all the prep, honestly. Like the only real pain I had after that scene was just being covered in bruises, but that's
Uh-huh.
kind of normal with most BDSM scenes I shoot. But anally, if you do enough prep, you can do it like 100%. I got fisted in the scene, which I never did before, so
Yeah, I've done a couple DPs with two very large peanuts. It's funny because it's like I knew I was gonna try to attempt this. And so I used a really, some of my biggest toys. Like I
yeah.
was trying to, early in the morning, just get it going. But I couldn't even put the toy in me. So when we were doing our thing, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. I was
Mm-hmm.
just so into it. And then the penises have a lot of give to it, but I was able to
Yeah.
do it, and it surprisingly didn't hurt me at all. Like maybe that night and the next day, my butthole felt a little, a little bit different, like loose, if you will. But
Yeah, but like not
the
pain.
next day it was fine. Yeah, no pain.
That's good.
Um, so I was gonna ask you, so like, so you mentioned like getting face fucked, I think you said,
Mm-hmm.
until you puke, this and
Mm-hmm.
that. So like I occasionally like will do that, like face fuck someone because
Yeah.
they want to puke, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a thing.
It's
But
fun. Yeah.
it's getting so hard to like post these on the sites. Like, I think the only one that allows that I can think of now is probably Dark Fans. Do you have
Yeah.
any others you recommend?
I post everything through like the big streaming sites. So I go through like Hot Movies, AEBN, those sorts of sites.
So you can do it on those?
Yeah, I've never had any issues. I've done some really crazy stuff and I've never had any pushback. Also like those are really what's needed for like award show nominations and stuff, so it can be eligible. So I've never had any issues with that, knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't get a bunch of emails tomorrow being like, actually, we didn't look over your content clearly enough. But
Those-
I think it's totally fine. Because you also have to remember, like, there's a lot of stuff that's already on there. Like, all of like Sasha Grey's stuff is on there. There's all this, pretty extreme stuff. So I think it's just like the bigger sites are better than if you're on like clip sites. That's where it starts to get a little messy, where like
Yeah.
whatever is left of mini vids is like starting to crack down on stuff. Even clips for sale, I feel like is kind of
Yeah.
getting hard now. But I think that's a larger conversation that like it's so hard to actually sell stuff online now. Where these streaming sites, it's great that it's out there, but the returns on it is not great. And I feel like it's kind of shifted now where this has been a theme of the last few podcasts I've had where you kind of have to have a deeper reason for being in porn now. Like you can make money off of it still, but it's a lot harder than it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah, I can imagine so. Yeah, I just recently put some videos on AEBN. Is the other one you called like Hot Movies or something? Is
Hot
that
movies, it's
essentially the same?
yeah, also Adult Empire. Adult Empire and Hot Movies are owned by the same people, but it's essentially the same thing as AEBN. Just it's like when I describe it to non-porn people, it's like the Spotify of porn basically, where it's like everything's there.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm always like finding different platforms to see because you just never know. You always hear with all the credit card stuff. Well, like ManyVids
Yeah.
also. What was the owner like? She was now condemning also sex workers,
Yeah,
like stuff
there's
like that. So
there's a lot going on with mini vids. I was a very big mini vids advocate back in the day. Like I was at their booth at multiple AVNs and shit. I have mini vids merch, which is so funny now. But yeah, I think they're like now kind of anti-sex work. Their owner is also like posting vaguely religious stuff now. That's like
uh,
French Catholic because they're from Montreal. That's like kind of out there. So, I don't really know what the future of that's gonna be. I still cam there occasionally because I'm like, it's 80%. It's fine, I guess. But I'm assuming that's not gonna be a very long-term campsite.
it's funny because I never have seen. I mean, I've only been to two AVNs, but I've never seen many vids there. It's always just for fans, and Fansley or loyal fans and Fansley have a big.
Yeah, they
Uh,
left before actually, let me see. Oh yeah, in 2018, they were one of the primary sponsors. It was sponsored by My Free Cams and MiniVids. Like those were the two main sponsors of the entire thing, which is really bizarre to look back on that there was a time where that company was that influential.
were you at this one last month?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was. It was really fun. I think it's like a really good vibe overall lately. Like I'm
yeah.
feeling
I had a good time last year. I had a decent time, and I didn't go to the expo the year before. Like I was brand new, but I did go to
yeah.
the award show. But I just I felt so out of place. Like I was brand new, and I guess I had like a fan nomination. This was when I
Hmm.
was at Resorts World. I remember being so
Oh
cool
yeah.
in the tents and the red carpet. And I literally, when I was completely by myself, didn't know a
Oh,
soul. And when I went to the, after the red carpet, which took
so
forever,
long.
I went into the theater. I sat down. I just kind of looked around. I'm by myself. I just went home. It's like this.
Oh.
I feel so out
I
of
wish
place.
I knew you. I feel like every year I have like newbies in my group, so I'm always like, okay, this is how you do it. Because if you don't have someone to like walk you through it, it's so intimidating because there's so many things that just aren't
Yeah,
easily accessible or just being like, oh yeah, this is what you do. You can talk to this person or this person. Like, I feel like that's such a first year experience because I felt that too my first year because it's so overwhelming because you feel so small and just so,
yeah.
out of place.
And it's like even like this year, I had a good time, but they gave me like the wrong credential badge. Apparently, like they weren't even letting me in the award show. I was like,
Oh my
no,
God.
I have nominations, and it's like, well, that doesn't matter. This is supposed to be this color, and
Oh my
I was like,
God.
are you saying you're not gonna let me in? And they're like, well, go down there and ask somebody. There should be somebody, blah, blah, blah. And they eventually walked me in there, but I couldn't do that. And right after the red carpet, they wouldn't let me do any of the interviews in that next room.
Yeah.
They give the wrong badge. And I don't understand how that works. But so there were some issues this year. And honestly, I didn't stick around for the awards show this year either. I guess awards is really my thing. I went in there for a bit and had a
You got your
drink.
photos. That's what's really
Yeah, it
important.
was
Like that's what it is.
quite a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just you really have to almost have like a team around you for it to feel doable, especially in your first few years because it's such a crazy situation because every year it kind of takes me back because we're shooting porn year round. You might be traveling, all these things where it feels very, you're kind of on your own. You're maybe doing a few collaborations with a few people, and then you're thrown into this thing that's gigantic. Like the scale of AVN for people who've never been is like it's like the Olympics of porn almost. Like it's so massive. It's people from all around the world. You're meeting people who you have no idea existed before that. Even if you feel like you know porn, like I feel like I know porn. I think you're like the 90th guest I've had on here. But I go to AVN and I'm like, who are all these people? What are all these genres of porn that I don't even know about? You know what I mean? Like it's just so massive and so easy to feel swept up in all of that.
Yeah, no, it is definitely the biggest, as far as I know. I haven't been to, that's another thing I was gonna ask. I get so confused with the whole XBiz because there's that one, and there's something called X3, there's XBiz Miami, and probably
Yeah.
other ones. And I don't really like XMA. Is that short for XBiz Miami, or what is the MA?
So XMA is now what the XBiz Awards are, the main XBiz Awards in LA. So that's like their biggest award show. The one in Miami, I think, is like the Creators Awards. So it's like, I think more cam specific or like clip sites. And then they also have XBiz Amsterdam, which is like the European XBiz Awards essentially.
Mhm.
So, why not that I won was based in Europe, but then they wanted an American like award show, so then they started the Why Not Cam Awards. And I think that's what caused XBiz to also do the same in Miami and expand to Europe. So it's all
Mhm.
these companies kind of just trying to mirror each other, I think. So it's this whole thing, but yeah, it's a little bit confusing, I'm sure. So
Have you been to the Miami, Backspin Miami? I heard that's can be fun, but I haven't been.
I'm a little bit afraid of Florida, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
hearing the trans stuff there. I'm supposed to actually go to Florida in like May for unrelated like not work stuff, and I kind of decided against it recently. Also, I feel like I'm the most pale porn girl. I don't feel like my aesthetic fits in Miami. Like when I was talking to someone on the podcast about Miami, and they're like, just like tan first," and I'm like, I'm okay. I don't think I'm gonna do that, but I really appreciate it.
Dude,
But
take care
how
of
do you
your
feel
skin.
like being thrown into this whole like obviously doing porn's one thing, but like you're high level now. You're like getting nominated for these big awards. You're, very active. Like how does that feel to you to be in the middle of all of this?
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, I don't consider myself a porn star or something like that.
But girl, you won
I
a
know, but
major award. Like that would be like the equivalent to like because like I feel like the T Awards are more like American centric. Like that would almost be like a national championship if it was a sport or something, or like American Film Award or something like that.
yeah,
Like that's a
it's
big
not an
deal.
Olympic win, but it's yeah, it may be
Yeah,
a
like national level.
national
Yeah.
thing. I'm just grateful. It is nice to get a little bit of recognition and just know that people realize that people are noticing, the work and the fun, sexy scenes that I'm putting out. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. I don't really, it's hard for me to just grasp, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. It's like, but this is really happening and I am getting all these nominations, which is great, but I don't think about it that
Yeah.
much. I don't know. I want to remake, I hope that well, I don't hope. I'm very, like, I'm a really sweet, like, nice and very shy person, but
Yeah, I definitely get that from you.
I want to always be like this. I don't want to develop any kind of attitude
Yeah.
and I don't, I've already met like lots of people that I think that small bits of success go to their head and then all of a sudden they're not good enough.
Yeah.
Talk to, people. I've noticed it can be very clicky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and that's what, and I've never been in any of these cliques. So, but no, I mean, it feels great. I am very grateful. I really, really am for the win and the nominations. But, and it kind of pushes me more. It's like you're
Mm-hmm.
always gonna want to see what else you can do and just try to keep bettering yourself. And maybe, I don't know, it'd be so awesome to win a second award sometime. I don't, will it happen?
I mean, it
Yeah,
could be in two
fall, but
weeks. It could be in 2 weeks. Like,
no,
but
I,
like, I think the important part is you're doing it sustainably. You're doing it in a way that feels good to you. Like, you don't seem like you're burnt out from this. It doesn't seem like you're relying on everything with this for like your personality or anything. Like, you're enjoying what you're doing. And, I also feel like getting into the industry a little bit older, you have more context of life where when girls get into it at 18 or 20 or even when I was like 21 when I got into the industry, it felt so this was everything, like even my mindset until a few years ago was so much I moved to California to do this. That's why I'm here.
yeah, no, I am actually kind of, I mean, it has its goods and bads. Like, I am glad that I got into this older because it's like, okay, I'm relating. Like when I was in my early 20s, I was a musician
Hmm.
and I
Oh
had
wow,
the
I didn't know we had
same
that in common
mentality.
too.
It would have been like, I have to do this. I have to make it. I have to, move here. We're gonna, just give it our all. It was like the only thing we lived and breathed, this band and music and
What kind of music did you play and what kind
just
of
rock stuff like guitar and keyboards.
Okay, nice.
I've always been a fan of like I just everything, whether it's films or TV or movies. I like old stuff, so, like before I was born and stuff. So no, it
So
had a very
cool.
60s, 70s vibe. But like I've always loved like obviously the Beatles and like
Yeah.
70s Queen and that kind of sound, Cheap Trick. It was more of a power pop type
Oh,
band.
nice. Yeah, I used to play in hardcore bands when I was younger, so
before.
definitely feel the music relation. I feel like it really prepares you for a lot of this industry too, because like especially if you were like the one who was doing all the booking for your band or all that stuff. I feel like there's a lot of really transferable skills. Also just like
Yeah.
being professional and touring and all these things, like it really gives you a kind of, I think, set thing for it. And also like going from being in bands who you were touring in a van to being a porn performer and being able to fly places and have your own hotel room. It's so much better.
I know. And I'm one of these people, I'm a very I like my space and my personal
Yeah.
space and my privacy. Like I've always lived by myself, with the exception of like one girlfriend a few years
Hmm.
ago. So whenever I travel, it kind of sucks because you have to spend so much extra money, but I need my own Airbnb or my hotel. I just
Yeah.
don't do well in content house situations, and
Yeah, it's
'cause
it's a
I go to
lot.
bed early and I just, maybe it's my age, maybe it's, I don't party or anything. I'm very
Yeah.
straight laced. And so it's hard for me to be around people that are just like up all night and having a blast. I like my 8 hours of sleep and
Same,
I
same.
want my own
I'm
time. So, yeah, it makes things a lot more expensive, unfortunately. I just, booked all my LA stuff, and LA, as we know, is pretty expensive.
ridiculous. Yeah. It's especially compared to Vegas. Like
Yeah, I
it's
mean, like it's expensive as fuck, in my opinion, here. But yeah, LA is more. So, and then San Francisco is more than LA from
Yeah. See, when we go to Vegas, we're like, wait, how much is that? Oh my God, this is free basically. Like everything feels so cheap. Um,
oh God.
but first off, like, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like we had such a good conversation about porn. I have a few final questions for you. Um, so is there anything that you haven't accomplished so far that is really on your like horizon that you want to accomplish?
Well, there's so much that I want to do. Like I want to put out, it boils down to money. Like I really would love to put out, like I want to start like a production company,
Yeah.
essentially. But for now, like baby steps, I wish that I had more money to have more like real proper sort of scenes,
Hmm.
props, literally, and uh, I don't know, like I want to shoot in businesses, like, as stereotypical as a lot of it is, I want to do one also at like so many people like at a fucking hair salon or have a
Yeah.
TSA, or I just love all that stuff, but it costs a lot of money to do it that way. But and then other than that, I really would love to win another award, like something along the best self-producer lines.
Hmm.
I do, yeah, that would just mean the world to me. So,
Yeah. I
but
I
just the
think
nominations are great. So
I think you're gonna have another one coming if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it. So I have one final question for you. So let's say you can wake up tomorrow and one thing important could magically be changed. What would you have it be?
you said if one thing could change in
Yeah.
porn, um, oh my God. I don't know. I feel like this is could almost be an easy question, but it's
It's
a
easy
little
or
tough.
hard, like
Yeah. Um, well,
if you need time,
you,
I can tell you mine.
yeah, what is yours?
Okay. So you know how like testing is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Even in cities that have it, like LA and Vegas. SF doesn't even have a talent testing. So for us to even get it, it's even harder because you have to like go to a place and have it shipped. So it's like, in LA or Vegas, it's like 150 to 200 usually for testing. So what I think they should do is I don't know if do you know much about like boxing or MMA or how they do testing there?
No.
So in those places, the state run a commission. So the state does the testing for free because they're like, hey, we have a chance where there's potential like a bloodborne risk. So as a state, we're going to take it on. So the state covers all of that. So when two people are fighting each other in like an MMA fight or a boxing fight, they both get tested, do full blood tests and everything to make sure there's nothing transmittable like HIV, any of the other things that are usually like come up when you're having fluid exchange with someone. So obviously, I don't really trust either state's government, but if there could be some third party thing through the state's government that was fully funded, I feel like that would be the best possible thing to deal with porn in that way is a harm reduction strategy. Because even in the Netherlands, their testing is actually way harder to get because they don't even have talent testing. So you just have to go to your doctor and hope for the best, essentially. So there's no standardized thing. So I think if there could be some sort of government thing in a positive way, not in a getting too involved in sex workers' lives way, I think that would be the one thing I would change, that you could just go to a government run place, they do your testing, and then that's just how they keep porn safe in their state or country.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think in a lot of these countries, even Canada, like they don't even test or they don't have the ability to test for MGen, I'm told.
Yep.
Various people that I do work with. So interesting. But no, I mean, I don't really know. Just uh I maybe I wish that it would be more acceptable because it still isn't, you know, like
Yeah, there's
for
still stigma.
well, like for the trans performers and even like gay performers, just I feel like it's still very sort of separate from the
Mm.
message with the straight stuff. And then, there's still so many people that won't work with trans because the whatever the studios, they just frown upon it, and
Yeah,
just it makes sense to me. We're all testing properly and doing everything we can to keep each other safe,
for
it's
sure.
so I suppose just that.
Yeah, so just like more inclusion in the general industry where there's less, agents who are maybe iffy about their clients
Yeah.
working with
Yeah.
trans women, the
Because
gay
there's so
industry to
many
be
of them I
more,
want to work with too. Yeah. And
right?
they always say that, oh, I definitely want to work with you or I want to work with you again. And then, but now that they are signed to this and that or whatever, yeah, they're just not having it. So,
Yeah, Aubrey Kate actually brought this up on stage at AVN after they won this last year too. So I think that's a very good
yeah.
general thing, and I really appreciate that she's using her platform to also bring this up because it's like I think it's great that there's trans women winning awards and given platforms, but I think it's also important to do something with it, and I think it's really admirable.
Well, Chelsea, I'm really glad that you had me on your podcast.
Likewise,
Glad I
you've
got.
done so much of the work for me. You've asked me many questions. You've really pushed this conversation forward, and you're even doing a wrap up. I'm best podcast guest ever. I really appreciate that. Maybe you should start a podcast if you haven't already. You're very good at it. Where can everyone find you on all the apps and websites and everything?
It's best just to go to riabentley.com and then it will direct you to all my links.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you have the best luck in Hollywood in a few weeks. Hopefully you win another one, back to back, defending Queen, that whole thing. And thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
All
We'll
right.
talk again soon.
Bye, everyone.